Hey, what's up? Andrew Kramer here for videocopilot.net, and welcome to another very exciting tutorial for optical flares, and welcome to the Eclipse tutorial. Now we're going to be doing a lot of things here, layering optical flares and using some of the advanced features, so let's take a look at what we're going to be creating. Okay, so we've got this planet, and it's aligning with the stars, and obviously bad things are going to happen because whenever things get in a line, it's like bad news. Now, why couldn't it be good news is the question. Things are aligning. Oh, wow, look at this. Presents are falling from the sky. Well, it's not going to happen. Maybe. Doubtful. Okay, let's go and get started creating this comp. I love making these tutorials for products because then they're not publicly on the website and it can just be ridiculous. So let's create a new composition, and we'll do 720p here, and we'll make it 24 frames per second. We'll hit OK. Now I've got this moon texture that we're going to be using, and it looks pretty good. And we'll come up here, we'll choose Effect, we'll choose Perspective, CC Sphere. And so it wraps it up pretty nicely. We'll move it here in the middle. We'll go and work at about half resolution. We'll go and scale it up. Turn the radius up. Looking good. Now we're going to animate a few things. So we'll go into the light settings. We're going to move the height over to about right here, -10 or so. Now I want to animate it over about 100 frame period, so that it leaves just a little bit of a border on the side. Looking good. Now we're going to add a fake camera orbit, so I want to go ahead and rotate the planet as well, or the moon as it were. So we'll go ahead, keyframe the Y rotation, hit U, we'll move forward, and I probably just want to rotate it a little bit. I mean, this is just trying to make it look interesting. Now we'll come down here to the shading. We'll turn up the ambient light so we can see the moon a little bit more. But some NASA engineers are saying, well, if the light source was on the other side of the planet, yeah. Why don't you get back to your particle accelerator and do your thing. Now I want to go and create a new layer with optical flares. So we'll create a solid. I'll hit OK. Choose Effect, Video Copilot, Optical Flares. Now we're going to go into the options, and we need to create a quick lens flare. Now I've got my pop-up open, nice and big. We can close that. And by the way, kind of a cool tip is if your windows kind of get hidden or blocked or something weird happens to them, if you just go into the preferences here, say reset the windows, hit OK, and then they'll be back in action. So just a quick tip if something should go wrong. Now we're going to create a sun lens flare. So let's clear this, and we'll come over here to the lens objects. We're going to add a glow and another glow. So we're going to make a relatively simple looking sun for right now. So we'll come down here, nice and bright. Now, I have two glows here because I want one of them to act as the sun, or the core of this sun. So we have a thing in here with the gamma control. So if we solo the layer, we can scale it up and then turn the gamma down, which creates a nice sharp looking glow element. And this is going to be really useful for creating this sun. So we'll unsolo it so that we have both the layers. And just having the two layers together really works out. So we'll hit OK, and this is our first flare. Now we'll put this at the bottom here. Now I want to go ahead and move the size of the flare to be similar to this planet, or this moon. Now let's go and make that a little bit sharper. So we'll go back into the options here. I'll select this hard glow. Let's go down to 0.05, and we'll solo that. And we might, let's see, turn the brightness down and bring the scale up, or the other way around. Let's turn the brightness up, bring the scale down, and that will actually make it a little bit sharper. Okay, looking good. Nice, bright sun. So we'll hit OK. And this is about the right size, so I think we'll go ahead and go with it this way. Okay, for our fake sun, we'll go ahead and hit return, and we'll call this sun. I want to go ahead and animate the position. So we'll move forward here, and I want to move it behind our planet here. Just align it there horizontally or so. So we've kind of created the basics of this eclipse effect. But we're going to be making multiple layers of the lens flare elements. So let's go ahead and create another lens flare layer. So we'll create a new solid, and we'll choose OK. Effect, optical flares, options. Again, we'll clear it. Start from scratch here. It's so easy to create lens flares, we might as well start from scratch. So I want to create a star. And the cool thing about the streak is it has a replicator in it. So we can change this to 2, and now we have a star. We could also change it to an odd number, and we have a symmetry option here. And if we bring the symmetry down, then we can come over here, let's see, turn the replicator angle up, and then bring the symmetry back in a bit. So you can create some interesting things. You can maybe fan the edges, scale this object down a little bit. So it's kind of a fun thing. We're going to go with something more like 4, just for the sake of this, and we'll go with more of a golden color. Now I want to add some detail, so we'll add a glint and a shimmer. Now the glint, I want to scale it down, and the shimmer, we want to add some animation. So we'll come down to the animation control, turn the speed up to about 100, and maybe a little less than that, but you can see it animates when you hold the mouse down in the preview. So this is pretty good. I do want to add some multi-iris elements, maybe make them nice and large, and we'll use a sphere, and we'll turn up the smoothness here. Now I'll make it kind of wide, stretched out a bit like that. Now our shimmer is a little bright, so we'll bring it down. We want this star to be a little bit more sharp. Maybe bring the brightness of our glow down a little bit. So that's pretty good. Let's spread out our multi-iris a little bit more, and then change the distance, which will push it further away so that we see those elements. And I also like to sometimes duplicate the multi-iris, lower the number of objects, change the random seed, and that just makes it look different. And then we'll bring the spread closer together, push the distance further away, but then scale it up, and then lower the opacity. So we've created like 2 layers of elements. And then if you're interested, you could always make another one that's nice little small bits like that. So pretty cool, pretty straightforward. Okay, so we'll hit OK. And we can change the render mode to on transparent, but it's better if we just use screen, and it'll blend a little bit more naturally. So we're going to be doing this in a couple of different parts, but I probably want to add a little bit of contrast to this top layer. So just punch that up a bit. Now we'll hide the sun layer for a moment, and I want to go ahead and animate the position of this flare. So we'll keyframe the position, and we'll move forward, and we want to be very careful that we don't go past that point where the planet ends. Now I'm going to keyframe